All right, guys. Got one person in here so far. Got a little cast iron repair on a lawn ornament bench for this little lady up the street from me. So I've already cleaned it. I've already gouged out the cracks in this cast iron. Go ahead and switch you guys back over. Hey guys, as you can see here, I've got a little cast iron bench, like a little lawn ornament. It's a sweet little old lady up the road from me. This thing cracked out on her, so she asked me if I could weld it up. So we're going to do some cast iron tonight. So I've already cleaned out the cracks. I've already grooved them. I've buffed a couple of them out already with a flat disc and welded them up. So this is the big crack right here in the center. There's actually a little mounting tab where this thing bolts together, and the actual tab broke. And instead of trying to fix that little tab, we're just going to go ahead and weld up this center section solid. So let me see. All right, we've got some pretty good heat in here. Just need another couple of seconds of heat, and we'll be ready to TIG this thing up. And so yeah, I'm going to TIG this up, and I'm using, this is TIG Tech 224. It's a specialty TIG rod meant just for cast iron. It's a little bit expensive. It's about $105 a pound, and you can only buy it in 5-pound bundles. And I'm actually down to my last like 2 or 3 rods, so I got to get some more. But the stuff is like black magic for cast iron. You can literally just weld it up, grind it back down, and you're good to go. Or you can just leave it. So let me get a little bit more heat in here, show you what else we're going to work on. Let me prop this up. So again, you can see my little prop that I made. It's got multiple uses. So now I can just sit this here and go work on something else while it preheats. Derek Vale, any word on dropping info on the new EXTs by the end of the live stream tonight? I know the first pre-production prototypes are making their way over to the team members now. I know I will be getting one here pretty soon. I know the tech department, the tech department, they actually have one that they're running through. And then if that one checks out, again, they're a pre-production unit. We've got a couple new features on those that we want to test before we release them to you guys. But I will have a pre-production unit for the new EXT, which is going to be called, it's a line above the EXT. So we're going to have the analog lineup. The EXTs are going to remain pretty much the same, changing a couple features here and there. And then we're going to have an upper end TIG line called the Typhoon series. And I believe we're going to go up to 450 or 500 amps max output on the big boy. We haven't quite decided, what's possible yet. So I will keep you guys up to date on that. Derek, I would say this TIG Tech 224, especially for TIG work, it's the shit. I mean, it's like I said, it's like black magic. So now I got some heat in that thing. I'm going to roll this up. Oh, thing only weighs about 300 pounds. Oh. So you guys out there aren't going to be able to see a lot. So we'll see if we can get on the arc shot cam and run some of this. Now this rod, it doesn't look like it runs super pretty, but I'll show you a weld here in a second that it actually, once you get the rod in there and you pull off of it, the weld itself actually looks pretty decent. TIG Tech, it's TIG Tech, or Tectic, TIG Tectic. Let me hear, Let me see if this will, there you go. If you just Google that, you'll find it. I can get it through my local AWG supplier. Ooh, let me try to get that back in focus for you guys. There you go. TIG Tectic 224. So if you Google it, it'll come up. You'll find a couple different, there's only one manufacturer of it. I can't even pronounce the name, so I'm not going to try to butcher it. But if you Google it, you'll find it. Derek Cohey. Yep, TIG Tech 224. You got it, buddy. TIG Tectic. Derek Vale. Do you blunt your tungsten? I just began trying it. I think my taper is too narrow. I tell you what, dude. After we run this cast iron, I've got a little aluminum project I was going to do for you guys. I mean, it wouldn't be me TIG welding without doing some aluminum. So I made this little, there we go, like business card holder that I'm going to put at a local business. But it's just basically some aluminum strap that I cut, bent. We'll make a little cube real quick. So actually, when we go to weld that up, I'll change my my grind angle a little bit and show you what it does. Hopefully, we'll be able to show you what it does. But yeah, I do blunt my tips for aluminum. You see, I'll zoom back in on the up close cam. So this is an 1/8 inch tungsten that I would use for aluminum welding. So you can see it is blunted. That's a 30-degree taper. And then on my CK Turbo Sharp, I just stick it in there and boop, just tap it and blunt the end off of it. So before this thing cools off too much, let's go ahead and get on welding it up. All right, I'm going to pull off of here and make sure you guys didn't lock up on me. Looks like we're still good. Derek, as closing my hood back down. Yeah, I only blunt my tip for aluminum. This tungsten here, like I said, I've already ran a couple of these cast iron passes, and it's a little dirty. I'll probably finish this run and clean it up real fast. Hopefully you guys can see this. All right. I'm actually going to clean this tungsten up real quick. I'll go to the up close camera and show you what this this rod looks like when you're welding up with it. Oop, I got to unplug my camera. So we got a little hole there at the start. There was probably some paint or something still down in that crack, but I'll go back over that. It'll fill in just fine. All right, a little lower on the arc shot. I will try to adjust that. I don't normally weld up here with the camera, so it's a little different than what we normally do. All right, let me get my Turbo Sharp. Hit this tungsten real quick. Give me 1 second. Had a little bit of a glob on there I had to get out. Yeah, Derek, I agree with you there. For cast iron, it likes to spit, so your tungsten's not going to be, your tungsten quality on the point's not going to be quite as important as it normally would be. Like if you were doing stainless steel or mild steel or chromoly or something like that. So I don't worry about my my point quite as much on cast iron. And I've actually got a little ball of spit that's keeping me from getting my tungsten into the sharpener properly. But I got a little bit of a point on it. It's good enough for what we're doing. So throw this back in. And even my screen on, so I'm running an Edge number 15 gas lens cup. And even my diffuser already has some splatter on it from this cast spitting. All right. Let's see, Sam Warwick. There actually is some looks like silicon bronze or brazing that's already been done to this piece before, but the only I thought I had some thinner silicon bronze rod, but the only silicon bronze I have is like 1/8 inch. I was going to try to run some of that for you guys tonight on this, but that 1/8 inch is a little too hefty for what we're working on here. I got chairs in the way. Hold on. All right. Arc shot cam. I'm going to try to run like a half or so and then check back on you guys and see where we're at. All right. Tell me how that, if you guys could, tell me how that looked real quick. Perfect. Okay, cool. So here we go. I'm going to run this last inch. And I am using a little bit of a pedal pulse on this and kind of running forward and then pulling back just ever so slightly. Just to kind of let that filler suck in. And I'm pulsing just to try to keep a little bit of heat out of this part. Had a little hole there I wanted to fill in. Another little hole back here that was being kind of stubborn. I'll kind of work the puddle around, get the impurities out of there. Add a little more filler. And she closed up. Yeah. So I'll get you guys back on the up close cam real fast. Oop. So there we go. Cast iron's never going to be super pretty, but you saw it was basic, real simple preheat. Basically just got it warm and then nothing special, didn't peen it, didn't try to get too crazy with it. So it really eliminates a lot of the pain that's normally associated with cast iron, where people are talking about having to preheat it, you know, 300 or 400 degrees, get it nice and hot, weld an inch, peen it with a ball peen hammer to relieve the stress, and then post heat with a real slow cool down. That's a real old school way of doing cast iron. There's a lot of rods out now like this TIG Tactic 224 that it really makes it pretty foolproof. I mean, that's like welded some dirty mild steel, basically. A little preheat and just run it. So I'm going to take a second, lift this thing back off the bench. We'll do that little business card holder thing I was talking about, and then we'll open it up for some questions. So give me just a second, guys. All right. Let's switch over to AC on my 325 EXT. We're running 090 material. Turn my gas flow back down. All right. Switch out my cups real quick. So I'm switching from a 15 edge Pyrex cup, running 332nd. I was running 332nd tungsten on that, by the way. And I'm going to switch back to my standard 1/8 inch tungsten. And a number 7 edge Gasolin's quartz cup for aluminum. All right. Before that cup rolls off the table and breaks, I'm going to put everything back up real fast. If you guys haven't seen these cases that Edge Welding Supply has available, these things are pretty badass. Here we can go back to the close cam again. So it's got a for extra gas lenses. So this is kind of my steel side. And there's my 1/8 inch collets and gas lenses, and that's pretty much all my aluminum cups. These are all quartz cups, and these are all just regular Pyrex. Why do I use 1/8 inch tungsten on aluminum? Back when I was doing production AC work, even though we were within the amperage range for 332nd tungsten, the 1/8 inch just has a lot better tip life. So the point and grind would last a lot longer. And that's just what I got used to running. And so what I'll do, I mean, I've even like these pop cans. I welded these pop cans up with 1/8 inch tungsten. I've just gotten to where I just adjust my grind instead of changing out my tungsten, because we had some of the intercoolers we built had some thinner areas where a 332nd tungsten maybe would have been nice and would have lasted just fine. But instead of always switching out my tungsten and my collet, we would just run 1/8 inch tungsten, and I'd do a real narrow, real long taper for some of the thinner stuff that I could have used 332nds on. And then as we went up into our higher amperage range, like I said, the 1/8 inch tungsten just would last a lot longer for us. So for me, it started off as a time savings thing, and now it's just what I'm used to. So I pretty much run 1/8 inch tungsten on all my aluminum. Yeah, those Edge cases are badass. SSP has kind of partnered with Edge to do some of that laser cut on the foam, and the cups fit in super nice and tight. They don't rattle around. The gas lenses fit in tight. The collets fit in tight. It's got extra spots for O-rings, your little like isolator rings that go to the back of the cup. They've got a spot for extra adapters. The cases are just super, super handy. Let's see. Dirty Deeds ordered 25 EXT with water cooler 2 weeks ago. I think we were out of stock on those a couple weeks ago. I know we were out of stock on them, but I think we were having a shipment come in within the next. That was 2 weeks ago, so I think we had a shipment coming in about 2 weeks. So you should be ready to ship there on that 325. All right, Derek, do you want me to run over advanced AC, the square wave, or advanced AC pulse, the actual the pulse setting for aluminum? So hit me up in the comments real quick and let me know which one you actually want me to talk about. We can go over that real quick. That's no problem. So again, this is a like little business card holder. Here I've got this third camera that I bought just for this type of stuff. So it's like a little cube business card holder. It'd be good for, sitting on a reception desk. I've got my business cards made up. There's a couple guys with businesses around town that I'm friends with, and I've asked them about, making something that looked pretty good to put on their reception areas, to help me out for my side business. So that was one that I came up with. So it's literally just some of the flat 3-inch wide aluminum strap you guys have seen me run some test beads on. And so, yeah, just did it 3-inch by 3-inch. We'll just slide together. We'll tack it up real quick, run that out. I'm not going to drill a hole in this, and I'll show you guys how to get around it gassing out. All right. Make sure I'm set up right. All right, Derek. So you want to go over the advanced AC pulse? I think I've still got some of that. Oh, excuse me. I've got some of that thicker material around. So I'll run this up real quick and I'll drop you guys off on the table, and then I'll run back and pick up some of that thicker material real fast, and we'll set up a program and run through what advanced AC pulse is and what it does. It's a pretty cool little feature, especially on the lower powered machines like the 210 EXT. Having that advanced AC pulse feature is pretty handy. All right, let me get this tacked up real quick. And I'm just dry washing these tacks in. I can squeeze this little cube together well enough that I might have to use filler on 1 or 2 of them. All right. What's the best type of tungsten to use for 1/8 inch? So I run exclusively Midwest Tungsten Supply, 2% lanthanated, and that's both on DC and AC. That's all I use is 2% lanth. You know, maybe you could get a little bit better performance out of thoriated, like 2% thoriated, the red tips, but I've just gotten so used to running 2% lanthanated. It's just what I prefer. It works well enough for DC. I mean, I've welded for hours on a single grind. So, I mean, any longer than that, I don't really care. But I'm going to mess up before the tungsten goes bad anyway. So, all right. So now that we got this little thing tacked up, we got another little piece here that'll actually hold our card. So we can, you know, set it like that. I've got this other one set up to where it's like at an angle. I've even thought about, you know, maybe doing it like that, so it's resting on a single corner. So we'll weld this up real fast. I'll run a couple beads on it, then I'll switch over to the arc shot cam for you guys. And I'm running this at 141 amps, 35% balance. I'm not even for sure what my frequency is. I can look real quick, just because I know someone will ask. Running 121 hertz. Oh, and by the way, if you guys missed me last week, I was on vacation and forgot to tell you the week before that I was taking a vacation. So if you were wondering what happened last week, I was in Colorado enjoying myself. So sorry I forgot to tell everybody. I got a bunch of messages about that. All right, let's run a couple beads real quick and we'll switch over to the arc shot cam. All right, everything's running pretty smooth. Let's go ahead and switch over to the arc shot. Derek, thanks for hanging with me, man. I appreciate you coming by. If this is your first time, you know, 7 o'clock every Monday night, we're here. So sometimes I'll have a lot to do. Sometimes I'll just kind of be taking questions and just hanging out with you guys. So I do have a large fuel cell that I'm building for a customer. It's 50 by 16 by 10, so like right at 35, 36 gallons. I'm waiting for material to come in for that. And next week I might show you guys putting some baffles in that, because we're going to have some really good, like real tight areas, some real good fillet, almost like lap welds. So I'll probably save that fuel cell for next Monday. We'll put some baffles in it and then button up the top piece on it. So let's go to the arc shot. Oh, camera locked up. Let's see if we can get an arc shot. I'm running 3/32. 55, 54 filler for this piece. All right, we got a little bit of a gap on this side, so this might be fun. I wasn't super careful with my fit up. And this is just to give you guys ideas for stuff you can do, like if you're wanting to start your own little side business. Just little stuff you can do to set around town, throw a couple cards in, kind of get some attention for yourself. Little stuff like this I found really draws a lot of attention. I get more phone calls off of setting stuff like this around town with some cards than I do doing like a Facebook Marketplace or Facebook shop and swap pages. I'll get more hits off of setting something like this out with 5 or 6 business cards than I will any other thing I've ever done as far as marketing and promotion goes. Yeah, Richard, that's one of the things I was really hoping to do with this is show you guys like real world type stuff, like fixing that cast iron bench or doing that fuel cell or like a couple of the radiators I've done, stuff like that. Because it's really, is the audio cutting out? I can turn the mic up a little bit. But, doing like a welding show or like a demo on, perfectly prepped plate or sheet and doing perfect T-joints. I mean, it'll teach you guys some, some technique and kind of what you're doing. But, a lot of that has no relevance to like the real world, like building a fuel cell. You can do some outside corners. It'll get you kind of close. But unless you're running, a 1 foot long outside corner, it's kind of hard to get used to that positioning. And so that was one of the things with this show I wanted to do was show you guys how I position actual parts, because it's hard to take some of the videos you see and you're running a 3 or 4 inch coupon. Well, anybody can move their their wrist 3 or 4 inches. It's when you get into a 19, 20 inch long weld where the positioning really comes into play. So that was one of the things I was really hoping to do with this is show you guys real world application to all the other videos that you've probably watched on YouTube and even on the Everlast YouTube channel, is kind of put all that in perspective on how to use it. All right, so I got one last run here. And then the cube will be welded up. So I did not drill this out for a vent hole. So we're going to get down here to like the last hole, probably 1/4 inch. And it was already wanting to gas out on me. So what we're going to do is just let it cool off for a second. We'll set it aside, let it chill for just a minute or two, and that'll cool it off enough that we can come back and hit that last little like 2 dabs. You'll never even know you got a nice sealed cube. So let's get to, yeah, Richard, exactly, yeah, stuff like that. You just can't really teach that, like doing repairs. At least I haven't really seen it, being taught. So that was kind of my idea here, is to let you guys see some real world application. All right, let me scroll back up. Was it you, Derek Vale, that was asking about AC pulse? Yep, it was you. Okay, so advanced AC pulse. Oh, without having my whiteboard right here, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to explain. But what you have with advanced AC pulse, you're running an AC waveform. So you're having like a straight AC waveform, and then your background amperage drops down to DC electrode negative, like a standard straight DC TIG. And then it jumps back. Your on time is going to be your AC waveform. So it would, trying to find something to draw real quick. It's not going to be very easy. But anyway, yeah, it's AC waveform. So you have your electrode negative, electrode positive that it's switching, and then it goes to DC electrode negative. That's your background amperage, and then your on time goes back to your AC waveform. So what that does, back in the day, before AC, you welded aluminum on DC electrode negative, and you used helium. That's why it was called heliarc, was because of the use of helium. DC aluminum runs extremely hot. It's extremely fast. It's a little bit of a dirty process, but you get a lot better penetration, because that's where your penetration side of your AC waveform comes from, is that DC electrode negative side. The electrode positive is what is lifting the oxide layer back off the aluminum so you can get a cleaner weld. So what that the advanced AC pulse does is it gives you the heat of your DC electrode negative with a little bit of cleaning from your standard AC waveform. So you can, I'll generally set it to like a 50-50 balance, like 50% on, 50% off. But I'll set my DC electrode negative, my background amperage, I'll set that to 100%. So if I'm running 200 amps on the machine, my on time and my background amps are both the same. And you could even, if you need a little bit more heat, you can go, like a 40% on time, 60% background, and that'll give you more DC electrode negative. It'll be a little bit dirtier unless you're, you're running helium. But the whole point of advanced AC pulse is to let you weld thicker aluminum with a smaller machine with argon, just because helium's so expensive. Brian Redmond, do you ever use preheating, and if so, how? I was welding up some half-inch thick aluminum plate a couple months ago, and I've got that was at work, I've got a big hot plate that'll get up to like 500 degrees, and I tack those plates up just real lightly and then put them on that hot plate, just so I wasn't pushing the machine quite as hard. Anything under a half-inch, usually I won't preheat. I've got enough amperage where I can pretty much weld anything, but just to make it a little easier, sometimes I will use a preheat on super thick aluminum. Hold on. So Gubert, welding stainless steel V-band to turbo housing, best filler. I read nickel 55 or 309. I currently have, A2. A2 is good. I would use 309. I've done quite a few of those welding like a V-band, like flange to a cast iron turbo housing, or doing like, I'm sure you've seen some guys run like a wastegate, like off a tube on the turbo housing, and I've always used 309 with that. Being that it's not like cast iron to cast iron, you've got a little bit more leeway, and 309 works pretty good on cast iron anyway. If you take a lot of those steps where you preheat, weld short, peen it, post heat, let it cool down slowly, 309 works pretty good for cast iron still. But for stainless steel to cast iron, I'd use 309, 100%. Okay, I think our cube's cooled off enough. We can make our final two little dabs to seal it up. And then we'll weld on our card holder, and that one will be done. We'll have another one of those to sit out and try to work up some some business. So I'll put you guys on the arc cam for this. Hopefully we can get this last little dabs on cam. Nope, still gassing out. Still too hot. Of course. Hubert, personally, I've got some 347 at work. I haven't used it yet. I've actually never used 347, so I'm going to say I don't know if that'll work. I wouldn't use 316. 309 is pretty good for like a dissimilar metals filler. So personally, I would recommend you using 309 for that. Oh, I thought this little thing was going to be cool enough to get those last couple welds in, but it wasn't. So it gassed out. But anyway, we'll move on. See how we want to run. Probably just do another one like that. So we'll go ahead and finish this up with running that little placing the actual holder for our cards. Just kind of line that up. That looks good. Oh, the camera fell. Hold on. It came loose. I just saw that. All right, let me double check. All right. Should be back in adjustment. Sorry about that. The camera came loose on my mount. So let's switch back. Hopefully we are back pretty close to where we started because we were doing pretty good there. Hopefully you guys got that, but there we go. Nice little business card holder. I'll have to hit that with a flap disc, buff it back out real quick, and then touch that up later tonight once it cools off now. But yeah, so just so you guys know, like that's little stuff like that you can do. Build you a little business card holder. I've actually got a bunch of plenums that I've got that were scrap. I'm going to build some more of my my pin holders or tungsten holders or ashtrays, whatever you guys want to use them for. I've got, Now that big one I use for hammers. I've got this little combo that I've got pins and then some extra cups and collets and little stubby pieces of tungsten, a little button back cap that I keep on my table. But I'm going to make a bunch of those up here pretty soon, and I'll probably post those up for sale pretty cheap just to help fund the show a little bit. But when I get those built up, I'll display a bunch of them on the show, and then you guys can hit me up through Facebook or Instagram, and I'll ship some out to you guys. Just a little kind of thank you for watching. So I'll probably basically just charge you guys like shipping to get them out, just as a thank you for coming on the show. But if that's it, I don't know if the internet locked up, but I haven't had a comment for a second. Derek, let me run and get some of that, see if I have some of that thicker material real fast. And then we'll set up an advanced AC square or advanced AC pulse program real fast and see if we can run some of it real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to run to the back of my shop. Got it. Let me set up an advanced AC program, 200 amps, 50% on time, 100% background amps. We're going to run 1.8 hertz frequency. On our AC waveform, we're going to run 100 hertz, got 35% balance. Turn my post flow back down, pre-flow back down. And 60 amp start. All right, so now we've got an advanced AC pulse program set up. Now this is some material I've already welded up, so I don't have a good joint to show you, but we will go ahead and run a couple beads just to show you guys what it looks like. Hopefully we can get a pretty decent shot of this. All right. So advanced AC pulse. Hey, Jeremy, it's my pleasure, man. I'm just tickled to death that people actually show up to watch this. I really still don't know what I'm doing. Most of the time, it's a struggle just to figure out what I'm going to do for you guys each night. So the fact that I can sit here and mumble along for an hour and actually have people stay and be engaged just blows my mind. I mean, I'm just tickled to death with how well this is going. Let's get back on the arc shot cam. Again, this is advanced AC pulse. So we're pulsing between an AC waveform and DC electrode negative. And I'm trying to dip my filler rod on the AC side of the pulse. This is 1/4-inch thick material. This is 1/4-inch thick material, and you can see that once we get into it at about an inch or so, it really starts taking off. How much of the pedal am I using? I'm using right at 200 amps, and I'm full pedal. So that's full pedal, 200 amps, 1/4-inch material, and I can get the my little up close cam, and you can actually see you can't see it on the far away shot, but there's it's actually melting through pretty decent. So I'll run another couple beads with the advanced AC. And again, the purpose of this is to help you guys weld thicker aluminum with a smaller machine without having to go helium and straight DC. So you still get a little bit of the cleaning action from your from your AC waveform, but you're getting a lot of the penetration like you would normally get from like straight DC aluminum. And I actually had to back off the pedal quite a bit. So KS, I actually had to back off the pedal quite a bit. Oh, about halfway through that. I probably dropped off 30% of the pedal there. So run another couple. It's actually kind of fun to run and get your timing down. So I'm full pedal. I'm starting to back off a little bit because it's already sinking in. So now I'm probably about half pedal now. Derek, so that is 200 amps on 1/4 inch material. Let me I'll get the close-up camera, show you guys a couple of those passes. So all three of these are actually advanced AC runs. This one was an actual joint we did on a video a couple months ago for the Everlast YouTube channel. If you go back through and look at the posted videos, you'll see it. We go into a lot deeper dive on the advanced AC pulse. But there you go. There's the melt through. So pretty significant, especially for not having a joint on a 1/4 inch material. Like I said, 200 amps. It's a really misunderstood feature. Obviously, a lot of times you'll hear it called like mixed TIG, but yeah, that's a really handy feature, especially if you have a smaller machine. Oh, sorry guys, I bumped my my monitor, so I can't see what's going on. There we go. But yeah, so it's coming up on 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and get my boys to bed. I think we already lost someone getting their boys to bed, so I fully understand that. But yeah, again, guys, super appreciate you dropping by. I can't believe this is going as well as it is the last couple of weeks. So I really appreciate it. If you guys are just joining us, this is a weekly live stream. So every Monday night at 7 o'clock Central Time, here I am. Do little demos, try to show you guys some like real life repairs or little stuff you can do, if you want to run a side business. But yeah, open for questions. Anything you guys want to see, I can pretty much show you. I'm going to try to get some more material in, so we can get into some more exotic stuff. But yeah, if you guys ever have a question, hit me up on Instagram, Facebook. I'm always looking for content for the show. Like tonight, I just happened to have a customer call me that had that cast iron. She's got a couple of the little like yard ornament things I need to fix, but I had no idea what I was going to do up until about 3:30, 3:45 tonight. So anytime you guys want to see something, again, hit me up, Instagram, mccollum.weldfab. I'm the admin on the Everlast Facebook page, so you can find me on there. Send me a message. Anything you guys want to see, hit me up. I'll bring it to the show. And until next week, have a good one, guys. Thanks again.